Welcome back to the Chasing Common Ground podcast. Today I will be talking to you from my walking treadmill, which, if you don't have one and you do desk work, I highly recommend. Now, I wanted to record this episode just kind of off the cuff, sort of reflecting on 2024 in the most natural way that I could find. And as I was preparing for the episode, first I was going to turn it into a vlog. And then my day got a little bit chaotic, and I was like, well, who wants to watch me making a rice noodle pork dinner while I just yap about whatever? And then I got reflecting on the year, and there's a lot of lessons learned. There is a lot to be proud of, but one of the milestones that I actually kind of overlooked is that this will be 2 years of me doing my whole alcohol-free thing. And the purpose of me bringing that to light is not to tell anybody else what they need to do, but to share my own personal experiences and some of the reasons why I chose this path. And partly because when it came down to it, I pretty much coped without any kind of drinking activities until the point where I was an adult. And then it kind of felt like it was sort of one of those catalysts where if I didn't have people to socialize with and I could drink with them, then we'd always have something in common. And as I've become an older adult, I was like, well, if that's the one thing we have in common, we don't have much in common. And so now people are stuck with me, perhaps being my more civilized self, full of thought and a clear head, at times a little bit weird nonetheless. But this is what you get. And it probably improves the likelihood of a lot of health-related victories in the future, whether they be athletic, whether they be regarding family, whether they be regarding my longevity or my ability to avoid all these different illnesses and diseases like cancer or maybe Alzheimer's and stuff like that. And while I don't have control, and statistically sometimes the people with the best of intentions have the worst of luck, it's something that I don't struggle with. It's something that I don't have regrets. Like, I don't go to the bar and think, oh, I really need a rum and Coke. I think to myself, I hope that they have Coke Zero. And that's about where that summarizes. I do notice it kind of changes which social dynamics I'm drawn to. I don't want to go to a keg party. I like going to places where I can hear the conversation. But that's also kind of my quirk. I tend to be someone who likes the one-on-one conversations just because I can kind of connect and get to know somebody and understand how we can work together on things, or how we can help each other, or maybe something that they know that I can learn something from them on. And that is a great segue into the exciting news that there will be, again, more guests coming on the show. And when I'm bringing on guests, I kind of bring in a mix. Some people are from the fitness industry. Some people I've connected with over mutual friends, different events, different networks, stuff like that. And so I anticipate some episodes where we'll talk about jujitsu and some episodes where we might be off-roading. So there's going to be a lot to look forward to. I'm probably going to push the envelope a little bit and potentially put myself out there to talk to people who are above my pay grade, as it were. There's the thing with podcasts, and a lot of people don't quite realize it at first, is that everybody out there has a finite amount of time. Like, if somebody has already been on like 500 podcasts, the chances are they're getting a demand to be on podcasts that would require them to have a full-time job being on podcasts. And the average podcast pays the guest nothing. Rightfully so. But at the same time, and I say rightfully so because it takes the agenda out of it, it takes the bias out of it. It allows it to be a more genuine conversation because there's not money involved. Once there is advertisers on a show, then depending on the company that you're advertising with, sometimes you have to be careful what you say. Like if I was promoting some kind of hair growth company and I was like, yeah, shit doesn't work, I would have to be careful about that. But seeing as how I'm not promoting a hair growth company, it doesn't really matter what I say because it's just my word, my podcast, no endorsement, nothing to expect. I'm just a bald guy telling you the truth. Also, a bald guy who doesn't care about that kind of stuff because low maintenance is actually much easier. And my head is round shaped, so that works. All that to say, some of the things that I think are important and some of the things that I'm working on behind the scenes are helping people to get more reflective. And I'll actually just share exactly what I'm working on. So there's a platform called Future Me where if you're listening to it now, before I've developed my thing, you can actually go to Future Me, I think it's .org or something like that, and you write a letter to your future self, let's say 6 months into the future. And you map out kind of like what you would like your life to look like. And you do this with a sense of conviction. Like you don't want to just be like, it would be nice if blah, 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 blah. You're going to say, I'm going to travel to 2 countries in 6 months. Or you say, I'm going to do 37 push-ups in a row in 6 months. And then when you've kind of put that out there into this letter that will literally be sent just to you, at that point, then you'd want to at least put some things in motion. So if it's 37 push-ups in 6 months, you'd want to start scaling up the push-ups as you approach that period of time. Whether it be that you just try to do 10 push-ups every day and bring it up to 15, bring it up to 20, bring it up to 25, etc., etc. However you do it, maybe you incorporate some pec training, some shoulder training to supplement your push-ups just to give you a little bit more training volume, ability to tolerate a lot of effort. However it works out for you, you would want to at least subconsciously program this stuff out. Or you can consciously program this stuff out and be very methodical about it. You can periodize things so that you build it up and then you allow some time to deload, and then you build it up again, and then you deload, and then you build it up again, and you pass your goal, so that when it gets to that 6-month point, you have undoubtedly reached that goal of those consecutive push-ups. And this is something that I tried during 2020. I just wanted to do 40 push-ups a day, and by the time I was done, I could probably crank out like somewhere in the range of 80 in a row. It was a good feeling. But if you stop doing that, it goes away really, really fast. So I would say if you had a plan to have a very, very simple fitness goal, you could work on something like that. You could work on your squats, you could work on your walking, you could work on your swimming, you could work on your reading. Some people, it wouldn't kill them to read a couple pages of a book every evening. Some people, that is just one of their things. And so then they may be geared towards learning a different language. And sometimes learning a different language, it can seem easy at first, and then you start slipping. I've been working on my Danish, but there's lots of days when Duolingo sends me the notification that I missed like 3 days of practicing my Danish, and then I have to make up for it. And that's where it helps to have a little bit of accountability. So with your fitness, having accountability helps, but with learning new skills in other arenas, you can have accountability with people who are also learning a new language, or you can have accountability with friends who are kind of on the same path. So if you have financial goals and you have other friends who have financial goals, you can both collaborate, you can team up, you can work on projects together, you can help each other out with the gaps in your skill set. If one person's very technical and the other person has the resources, like maybe a truck or something like that, you can team up. Or if one person is, they've got a trade, and then the other person perhaps just has kind of like a specific air of confidence that helps them with a pursuit. Maybe it's just being able to take the initiative. Maybe it's being able to be the leader. Maybe it is instilling confidence in a group. All these things, when you team up can go the distance and completely transform your year. I'm honestly going to keep this episode nice, short, and sweet, make it an easy listen for you. I had alluded to before that whole future me letter thing. At some point, I will have a tool on my website where you will be able to write a letter to your future self within my website, and essentially, I will send you your letter. It'll be set up so that I'm not reading your letter. It'll be just as secure as the Future Me site, but it allows me to kind of be part of your world and holding you accountable, if for nothing else, the ability to help you see what you had set out to do and bring you into my world where I'm very goal-oriented, where I like connecting people, where I like supporting people, and I have a lot of resources and a very diverse skill set in which I can do that. And when I don't have the answer, I almost always know somebody who does. So we're going to leave it with that. If you want to support me in some way today, please share this episode, either the Spotify, the YouTube, the Apple Podcast. Make sure you're subscribed to the platforms. And if you haven't had a chance, leave a review or some comments in any of those areas and share it with a friend. I really appreciate you. I'm proud of you for everything that you've done in 2024, no matter who you are, because if you've listened this much, we obviously have some kind of a connection. And I hope for the best for you in 2025. And if there's ever anything that I can do to help, feel free to reach out to me at chris@invigoratetraining.com. We will catch you on the next episode.